world from every nation, and we do our way too early Super Rugby predictions. I know what you're thinking. It is far too early to talk Super Rugby, but I'll tell you what. The competition starts in just 82 days. Yes, that means Gussie better start training if the Blues want to do the double and do a repeat of 2024. Aaron Cruden, Angus Tarval, Jeff Wilson, great to have you gents joining us. The season is done and dusted. It is all over for the international calendar year. How are you feeling? Are you exhausted? Do you want more, Aaron? Where are you at?
Oh, yeah, after this morning's performance, yeah, a little bit mixed, I suppose you could say. Yeah, no doubt there's been a lot of quality rugby played throughout the international season, but I suppose there's still a few questions that lots of people probably have lingering as well.
Yeah, I'll be honest, Kirst, I was exhausted when Auckland didn't make the playoffs. But that was 5 weeks ago, so there's a lot of water under the bridge. So I was getting, coming back excited. And then we're finished with the All Blacks, but now it's family time. It's away. The boys have talked about going to the beach, so get into that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a lot of downtime, so I was expecting maybe a new instrument, maybe you've gone from the trumpet to something else.
Nah, it's boring. Or just changing nappies at home, Kirsty. That's it. Just a family man.
You're a good man, Gus. You're a good man.
It's our 43rd show, Kirsty. It's our 43rd show.
Oh,
You
wow.
mentioned that beforehand. We've done all sorts this year. I'm glad it's coming to an end. I won't lie, but we've got plenty to discuss and debate on this show if we're going to give this season the respect and I suppose the honest assessment it deserves.
Well, before we give the All Black season the honest assessment, let's take a look at Scott Robertson and compare the season he had. First year as head coach of the All Blacks. Now, we've looked at every All Blacks head coach since the professional era started. And we've given you the percentages. So the winning percentage. Razor's winning percentage is 71% after the first 14 games. This is how every other coach stacks up, from John Hart, who's got a wonderful percentage, 93% winning record, and Jeff's mentioned to us they lost one test in the first 14. Pretty impressive. Wayne Smith, 79%, equal with John Mitchell, Sir Graham Henry and Steve Hansen, both tied on 86%. Ian Foster, another to be on 79%, and Scott Robertson only on 71%. So 4 losses out of 14 tests so far this season. So for his first year in charge, how do you assess him?
Well, he's admitted himself it's been a massive learning experience. The things that he's realised through the course of the season that weren't the way he thought they would be. He's had to make some really tough decisions. One of those was very early on in his tenure. Yeah. He's had to part ways with a coach, let's put it politely. So all of a sudden he's had to almost regroup mid-season, and then he's had to find a way to regroup Gus Crudes from a couple of losses in South Africa. And he's made some steps forward. Today, though, was disappointing, the performance against Italy. It wasn't the finish he would have been looking for. It's certainly, when you look at his percentages, ultimately, as a coach of the All Blacks, that's what you'll get judged on. So when he goes into next year, I'm not sure if he has another season at 71%, that's going to be acceptable.
I think if you went to the end of year 2 and there were similar numbers to this, then I would be saying I wouldn't be as confident and watch this happen. But you just find out how tough international rugby is, what the world stage is. It's not Super Rugby, it's a different beast. But I'm feeling confident in the shifts that I've seen. Sure, that Italy game today probably wasn't what we would have loved to see. We're probably all expecting a clinical, game given the top side that they selected. But for me, I feel like I keep harping on about this. The amount of change that's happened in this group, players, 10 debutants, which we'll talk about the most since 2018. All the coaches, the physios, everything. You could pretty much say there's probably a handful of staff that have stayed behind for where they were at the start of the year to where they got to. I'm feeling pretty confident about it.
Yeah, I think for me, like anyone, I think we had whether the unfair expectations of Razor coming in because of the success he had, right, with the Crusaders. That is where the
expectations came from. 7 straight titles.
Massive, and he did a fantastic job with that Crusaders tenure. But I like what you've just said, stepping up to international rugby as a coach. Obviously, he was there as a player, Razor, but it's just different in it, like anything. Some people take a little bit more time to find their feet there. I think he would have learned a lot about himself as a coach, his coaching group, just like he has about his players, possibly.
Shouldn't he be held to the same standard of all these other coaches, though, when they've got their first year in charge? And we're talking about the All Blacks here. I know the landscape is incredibly competitive right now. There are 4 or 5 teams that have set themselves apart, and we've played a few of them this year. And those have been games that we haven't come out on top. But if I look at some of the other games where they weren't convincing, those 3 test matches against England this season were not convincing. So that there isn't enough in terms of consistent performance, and some of the errors and mistakes and ill discipline that we showed throughout the course of the year, I think was frustrating, because it was almost like we're slow learning. We're not making adjustments. We started to finally finish games better than we had earlier on in the year, but that wasn't, to me, good enough when it came up against the real top teams. So I just think that he'll take responsibility. I was concerned today, just quickly, when he talked about the mindset for today's test match not being right. I'm sure he's going to own that, because that's something he champions himself on, that he sets that culture. So something this week clearly didn't quite go right.
71% record. The numbers don't lie. 14 tests, 10 wins, 4 losses. So what sort of rating do you give the All Blacks this season?
Oh, I'm sticking with what I feel it's good, and it's a B+ to me. Feels like context, everything, the situation we've been in, where we've come to where we are, B+ sounds good to me.
Why a B+? Give us the context around it. What could they have done to get into the A's?
Oh, I mean, obviously, you win a couple more games. I suppose Goldie's broken down. Some of them weren't convincing, but it's not like we've played 2 tests over in South Africa, probably the toughest place to play in the world, especially right now. Both within 5 points, 1 scoring game. You beat 2 big, massive ticks. All right, the amount of change that happened, and I've talked about the Graham Henry, Steve Hansen, Ian Foster, all succession plans. Golden time of New Zealand rugby from 2011 to, the end of Steve Hansen's reign, and Ian Foster had his growing pains. So I don't know. I feel like it's hard to judge this with 1 season, but it's off what Cruds is saying. The expectation of this All Black side, this nation, what he's done with Crusaders, it's so high. So I'm trying to look with rose-tinted lenses and be positive about this, because
and you're still available for selection.
Yeah.
I know, and you are balanced. I know you're not looking at that in any way, shape, or form.
So you're a B+. Aaron, you are a B. How'd you get there?
I probably saw, I think I said it the other night, enough, progression. Any progression is good progression. It probably would have got up to a B+ if they had performed well in this morning's game. I was possibly toying with a B- after this morning's game, but I ended up just sticking straight down the middle and going with a B. And I like what has been said already with Jeff and Gus. The games we lost, we probably could have won, I think. But then some of the games that we did win, we were not convincing. And that's probably why, for me, there's still a few questions around a few areas.
Woulda, shoulda, could've.
Your expectations are a little bit higher than these two, and I guess that's because at the start of the international season, the breakdown crew, the regulars sat down, yourself and JK both said that for you, 12 out of the 14 tests is the standard that they need to meet, and they didn't meet those 12 tests. Is that how you got to your B-?
If they'd beaten Argentina and done that was a concerning loss for me. If they'd been more convincing against England, because I accept what you're saying around South Africa and France. Clearly for me, the 2 teams, we got Italy at a good time. They hadn't played a warm-up game, but that was a dominant performance. But I just sort of look at it and I'm optimistic in the future. Don't get me wrong. I really like some of the talent we've unearthed, some of the opportunity we've given them. But I felt across the board there was enough players who had been through enough and experienced enough in that group in pivotal and key positions that we were still well and truly capable of winning these test matches, and we had the potential and ability to do that. And those guys are good enough. So my question was, why couldn't we once again get over the hump? Because that's what happened last year. You talk about looking at a season, quite often you remember for the last game of the year. They're remembered in 2023 for the last game of the year. People this morning, tonight, will look at this season and go, you know what, didn't finish very well. Maybe that's indicative of where they're at right now.
Are we discrediting where World Rugby is at the moment? Like we talk like that was a concerning loss to Argentina. Who else did Argentina beat this year?
Had a good year.
These are teams where in the past you've probably guaranteed or expected a win from the All Blacks, but World Rugby has come a long way. It's more competitive than ever, what I believe. These teams that haven't performed as well as they have in the past, When I saw Argentina, what they did, All Blacks, Wallabies, South Africa, they're legit. They're not a team that you can just brush past and expect. The same as Italy, although it wasn't as convincing, they've still come a long way from where they were, Jeff. You can't deny.
Argentina at home in Wellington, 12-point lead with 20 minutes to go. In what world do we ever expect we would lose that Test match? Like I
In a world
understand what you're
probably
saying,
5 or
but
6 years ago when Argentina are not the beast they are today. It's a different beast today.
Yeah.
Teams have grown. The world's getting better. Newsflash, hello.
You're becoming a different beast,
You know
Gus.
what? I've had it. I'm throwing all this paper out. I'm going
It's about time I got to you. It's about time I got to you.
All right.
Perfect.
You
You don't got me. I'm unravelable.
You can swap seats.
I'm unravelable.
You can swap seats.
I'll look it in the eye.
Okay, yeah, here you go.
All I'm saying is the world is better. The expectation of the All Blacks is up here, but there's going to be challenges, and if it's not better, what is rugby?
I tell you who will be enjoying this little back and forth. It is the man who's usually on the other side of your debates, Jeff, and that is Sir John Kirwan. Buongiorno, good morning, JK. Welcome back to the breakdown. We have missed you. Have you missed Jeff?
No, not at all.
Angus
Gussie?
is copping it.
Gus, well done.
Talk to me.
I'm loving this discussion. Absolutely loving this discussion, team.
JK, talk to us about your thoughts
tell
of
me-
the All Blacks 2024 season.
Oh, look, I think that for us, complete change, right? And we spoke about it at the beginning of the season, complete change. Goldie, you did say about unearthing some of these new players. I've been on tour, and my score is a B+ because I just think where the team is heading is where we want to go. I think there's a DNA that we're starting to see. Did we see it last night against Italy? No. Did we see it, Goldie? No. I was on the sideline, and you never know which Italian team's going to turn up. Which Italian turned up? The right Italian team. That is just a horrible game to play in. So for me, I think the season has been, and you mentioned it, Goldie. Yeah, if you look at the season, should we have beaten South Africa? Yeah. Were we good enough to beat them? Probably not from an experience point of view. When you look at that Argentinian game, you go, look, let's just put that to one side because we shouldn't have lost that, because when you go out the week after and you nail the Argentinian side. So for me, I'm actually really excited about where this team's going. Wallace Atiti, Tamaiti Williams, we've unearthed all these young players. And I think we're trying to understand how I think Razor's trying to establish how this team is going to play under him. And I like the signs, which is, for me, our DNA. Don't kick it out. Lots of play, lots of individual skill. Did we always get it right? No. Did we beat England over there? Yes. Did we beat Ireland? How important was that? So for me, a B+ for sure. And I think, the little discussion that Gussie and Goldie are having right now is like, do we want to win 90-40% of the time? John Hart's record? Yes, we do. Are the All Blacks going to be a team that can win like that in the future? No. I mean, this Argentinian side's a good side. Italy, on their day, are a great side. France, we lose by 1 point. Are they the best side in the world? Well, they didn't prove that in the World Cup. So for me, it's been a really, really good Northern tour. Will Razor be happy? Nah, he's not going to be happy. I interviewed them yesterday. They're not happy with that result yesterday. They wanted a result and a performance. They got the result. They didn't get the performance.
Yeah, hey Sir JK, Cruds here. As you're saying, you've had the pleasure of being on tour with the boys for the last sort of 4 to 5 weeks. Can you just talk to us a little bit about that? Some of the maybe off-screen conversations you're having with the team, and I guess, what their assessment and how they're probably feeling about things, and the way that the tour has gone to finish the year.
Oh, look, I think everyone was relieved yesterday, and Crudge, it's like, this is like, if you think about that French game last week and you saw Will Jordan get an intercept but he really didn't have the gas to run the length of the field and score a try. This is the end of the season. These guys are tired. What I'm seeing is an understanding. What I'm seeing is a team, and Goldie, you and I were there way back with the first Test match where everyone's going, well, I don't really know what this team is trying to do. The English Test matches. What I've seen is an involvement and a team that sort of goes, yeah, I get it now. Have we got it right? No. Can we get better? Yes. I've seen a team that was incredibly... I was probably one of the happiest last night because this team was not happy with that performance. But I'm going, guys, Italy turned up. They played well. When Italy turn up and play well, it's horrible to play against them. So for me, I've seen this involvement on how they want to play. I've seen a group that's really united in a direction that they want to go.
JK, it's Gussie here. There's been a lot of chat about being able to pick players from overseas. Is that something you'd lean into, or do you think we've got the talent, we want to keep this homegrown in New Zealand? And second question, sorry, just quickly, was that whalebone in those glasses? I might need to find where you're buying those, the white ones.
Gussie, I've got you a white pair because, with the size of your head, we need to be very careful how we position the glasses, but I've got some white for you. I also picked up a little red pair. I think red would suit your lid.
Okay. Would you want red?
Yeah, naughty.
Yeah. So
yes.
Look. You think red would suit Gussie?
So you carry on with the main one, JK. We'll take this off air, I think.
You Blues players. You Blues guys.
I want to hear his
How did you
answer.
win a title with this sort of conversation going on? Seriously.
I can't believe JK's brought red glasses instead of blue glasses, but
Yeah.
anyway.
What's up with that? What was the real question?
Yeah, he's getting to that, Goldie. Come on, give him a chance.
I think he's running away from the eligibility question. That's what he's doing.
Look, there is absolutely no way that our country can afford to pick people from overseas. It's an absolute joke. And most people that want to be picked from overseas are those that have already left. So, this is a fragile world. Has it helped Australia? Australia did it, and they've gone backwards, right? So for me, we can never, ever compete with overseas money. What we need to do is try and find a solution to keep our best players. I like the financial sabbaticals they do in Japan, but what the players need to realise, if you go to Japan, you've got to win. So apparently the financial sabbaticals in Japan aren't going to happen anymore because the players that have gone overseas have not won. So that's probably out of the book. But I am absolutely in favour of our best players being available for the Blues, Gus, and playing in the Super competition and playing for the All Blacks. Totally.
Can't wait for Blues Crusaders clash next year and you to wear those red glasses, JK. But in all seriousness, just before we let you go, last night you did a brilliant interview with TJ Perenara after his final All Blacks test. Can you tell us about the conversation you had with TJ after the cameras stopped rolling?
Yeah, look, I might get a little bit emotional here, but I have been, and we have been on the breakdown critical of TJ in the past, especially me, and I think the conversation we had post that was just that he appreciated that we were honest, but not personal, and I think that for all of us who work in this space. Was a really important moment because this is not personal, but we need to be totally honest about what we feel and how we see the game going. And so I think that was a discussion we had post. He'd been through a lot of adversity. We spoke about. I didn't agree with him coming back, and there was stuff around having multiple contracts on the table, league and stuff. But he said that he heard us and that he appreciated the honesty around the opinion on what was happening in his life and that we didn't do it personally. So that was the discussion that we had.
JK, just lastly, mate, I want to say to you, you've done a fantastic job while you've been away. Have I missed you? No. Am I looking forward to a break? Absolutely. I know you turn 60 soon. So on behalf of us here at the team, congratulations. The other thing I just want to quickly ask is, what prescription are your glasses? Because clearly I'm looking for some. What are those ones you're wearing right now? What prescription are those? Do they fit me, my eyes, or not?
No, they wouldn't fit you, Goldie. I didn't buy you a pair at all. My prescription is called vanity.
The truth will set you free. Thank you very much. That's all I wanted to know.
You know he was absolutely setting you up there, JK. Thank you so much for joining us, for getting up early for us when it has been a massive tour for yourself as well. And as Jeff said, thank you for all of your hard work over there. We can't wait to have you back home. So travel safe and we'll see you soon.
Great team.
Arrivederci, I think they say in Italian. So Sir John.
Say ciao, ciao, ciao.
Okay, ciao. You set him up.
Oh, that was for the hair shot the other day. That was when he said he took my hair, so I just thought I'd have an opportunity to quick jab back, that's all.
A lot of things that Sir JK just talked about there, but one of the most significant things is TJ Perenara. He is a player who we know always wears his heart on his sleeve and always sticks up for the things that he believes in and believes is right. Now, this morning in his final All Blacks test, final time leading the haka, he made a statement. So that was a message from TJ Perenara just before the haka. If you're not from New Zealand and you don't understand what is going on in Aotearoa right now, here is a brief summary. He wanted to acknowledge what is going on around New Zealand and Toitu Te Tiriti, which is the Treaty of Waitangi. There is a principles bill that is being debated in our local parliament and government right now, and a massive movement going on within Aotearoa, New Zealand. You've got the actual translation, Gus, and what did you think of what happened?
Yeah, so translation first. Forever the strength of the land, forever the strength of independence, forever the Treaty of Waitangi. And knowing TJ, we've seen him depart, and we know the man he is. He's very outspoken, not to be controversial, but because he knows who he is. He's proud of where he comes from. He's proud of the people he represents. And that's not a decision he would have made lightly or by himself. He would have gone to the leaders first, and I imagine they then would have addressed as a team, which after the game, a whole bunch of the boys got together with a Tino Rangatiratanga flag and did a pūkana to show support back in New Zealand. But I suppose in this position we get put in, we're seen as role models. And for a man like TJ, who represents his people, for him to do that and make a stand and stand up for his people, I mean, it shows how important he is, how important it is for us to have a voice and to not be afraid to, I suppose, stand up and speak for what we believe in.
Political statements have happened in sport, Jeff, for a long time. They happened when you were playing. Do you agree with them? Are they right to do?
Yeah, look, I think in this regard, I have full respect for TJ Perenara. You know, I think the most important thing, and you mentioned it, is that the wider conversation is had with the people who are, I suppose, closer to it, who are in a position where, as you say, the All Blacks clearly talked about it. I'd like to think New Zealand Rugby were involved, the New Zealand Players Association as well, just to make sure everyone understood that there would be maybe some conversation around this. You know, the freedom to have your opinion. And in regards to that, like I understand where players are coming from, and for TJ, who has been and always stood by his values, you know, I have full respect for that. He felt this was his time and moment to have his voice, and he's done it with passion his whole life and career.
Just before we move on, let's talk about these two legends. Aaron, you've played with them both, TJ Perenara and Sam Cane. We saw the beautiful moments that they had in-game when one came off, one came on, and then afterwards the tributes that were coming for them as well. In your words, what legacy do these two players leave?
Oh, it's thrown around a lot, but for me it's mana, you know, and Gus and I have both had the privilege of playing with both these two men, and it's probably, you are invested when you know them on a personal level as well, and that's truly, you know, I guess my privilege to say that, and just seeing the way they've gone about their whole careers, both on and off the field, the things that they've had to face, and I guess understanding the people that they are. Yeah, for me, it's been a real privilege, and to see them probably rewarded, I suppose, in a way of getting to play their last Test match, you know, and I will give credit to Razor and the coaching group too, because, you know, he possibly could not have picked them for various reasons, but I think the coaching group, the team, the environment wanted these guys to go out probably the way that they deserve to.
And to be fair, the All Blacks needed both of them this year. They have given a significant amount in their final years. They will not be involved in the All Blacks moving forward, though both will be overseas in Japan.
Hold on, Scott Robertson today has talked about the fact he's going to the board with eligibility questions. He wants a discussion open. So there's no reason, if he can convince them, there's clearly some guys overseas that he wants, if he can select them. And on Sam Cane's form in 2024, what if we needed him next year? I'm just saying, this is not me talking.
Is
Scott
this
Robertson.
71% record talking? Because if he had a better record in the first 14 tests, would he be asking for players to come back from overseas?
Look, there was a lot of things to unpack in the comments that he said about he's not taking a blanket rule. He wants the conversation, not the first time he said it.
He's been saying it for 12 months.
He wouldn't say that unless he thinks he might need someone. You wouldn't have that conversation. He's just looking around going, maybe I could do with that. How do I get myself in that position? Is Sam Cane the guy that I might need in 2025 at the age of, what, 33 years old?
I mean, we know who it is, right? He wants Richie Mo'unga. He's the guy.
No, I think he wants flexibility. He wants the option like other teams around the world have. Because he knows the one team at the moment who's the biggest threat, the best team in the world is who? It's South Africa. And they've got players playing everywhere. They've got 5 first fives, South Africa. 5!
You two are just going to have to hold your tongue for a moment because I've been getting told to move on for the last 5 minutes in my ears.
This is my last show, so I'm sort of just throwing and going.
Punches.
Haymakers.
Here's what's coming up for the All Blacks next season. So Razor's second year in charge of the All Blacks. Home tests against France. That'll be a brilliant series in July. 2 test matches against South Africa. How good that the Springboks, the back-to-back world champions, are coming to our house. A test here against Australia, a test in Australia against the Wallabies as well. A couple of away matches against Argentina. That'll be a good tour for the boys. And then the end of year tour is 4 straight test matches starting in that old place, Chicago against Ireland, Scotland, England and Wales. So the grand slam for the All Blacks to finish the season. So while rugby may be done, guess what? There's other sport to watch. It is tennis season. You heard that right. Experience the thrill of the Australian Open with AO Travel and Experiences. Be courtside for world-class tennis, then city-side for the best of vibrant Melbourne with a curated travel package. AO Travel and Experience.
Test together in the middle.
Looking to recover it. Does so beautifully. Off it goes to Bodenberg. Now the chase is on. Here's Talia coming across. But Taylor can't get it. Sam Derry on debut.
On debut, first try at international level. Not bad from Sam Derry. The New Zealand Rugby Awards are coming up on Sky Television on the 12th of December. That is your first 5 nominations for Try of the Year. We will give you your second 5 very, very shortly. But we thought, well, end of season, why not do our own breakdown awards for 2024? So let's all start off with the All Blacks Player of the Year. Aaron, who have you gone?
I've gone for Wallace Satiti. Yeah, and I truly think, obviously, it would be easy, you know, thinking it's his first year in the team and he's a little young, but I just think this guy has been sensational. Probably his rise and his elevation this year, the seamless transition he's made from Super Rugby level into Test match level has been outstanding for me. And it's just the maturity that I'm probably seeing. And I think he's only just going to keep going from strength to strength, and it seems like he has that in him. To continue to elevate and continue to rise.
Who's arguing?
I hear no lies. I think there's probably not much more that can be said. We've said so much about him on these shows throughout the year. So
He wasn't your pick, though.
well, we're going to come to him, Goldie. Don't worry about that. And he wasn't yours either. But he'll be popping up later on my award list.
Okay, so who do you have for your All Blacks Player of the Year?
Talk about maturity and a guy who's had to step into some pretty big shoes, size 14 to 15. Sam Whitelock and Brodie Retallick's Tupou Vaa'i. And seeing this kid when he first came in and as a 20-year-old to debuting for the All Blacks, the growth he's had, and to own that starting jersey, keeping Piri Tuipulotu out. What he did defensively in the line-out, what he does offensively in the line-out. He's got great footwork, he's got a great skill set. Physically, tackle-wise, I mean, he just ticks every single box you want as a lock, but he also brings that X factor about him. And I feel like his growth in his game has been amazing, but to see him as a leader within that Chiefs team, and I'm sure for years to come in that All Blacks jersey, I've got a lot of time for Tupou and proud of how far he's come.
Yep, had a great season, particularly defensive line-out time. He owned that space, but I've gone with Cody Taylor for me. I think you notice significantly, when he wasn't on the field, Asafa Amoa grew into the jersey, into the All Black reserve role, and then when Cody started playing in the big games, and I go to the big games here when I judge a player. Cody Taylor's injured. He was going deep into matches. He was back to his very, very best. Accuracy was high. Our scrum was strong, so you have to put a lot of weight into that. We've mentioned players that have all been really impactful. But for me, I'd like to think that Cody's in that conversation.
Okay, so that's your All Blacks. Have you got something?
That's another great choice. He was up there. You're talking about sabbaticals. He just took time off, connected with his family. And Kirsty, am I talking too much tonight, Kirsty?
Do you feel bad or something while you've jumped in and said
No,
that?
I'm just agreeing. I'm backing him up. It's a great choice.
Because you attacked him about 10 minutes ago, so now you're just
we're just having conversations.
Exactly.
Yeah, fair enough.
We're debating.
Okay, next up we look across the Tasman, and what a season it has turned out to be for the Wallabies. Not many would have predicted this. Who have you gone for your best Wallaby?
Rob Valentini. I just think he changes the way that they can play up front in particular. Consistent performer. He's their major ball carrier. His physicality, really good through Super, which then continued on. He plays massive minutes, really good for them last year. I think they're different without him, and it's a bit like the Cody Taylor thing. When I see a big change in the way that you can play, I think you get a real true value. Just for me, Valentini, once again, another strong season, but there's been some guys who have stood up late in the year.
Who are you talking about?
The guys that they've picked. Because you're right. And the fact, what am I doing talking about a forward? You're going to come to the real position.
Yeah, now
we're
we're
real
going,
superstars. Come on now.
Yeah, I think, look, Gus and I have been aligned on our Wallabies Player of the Year, and it's Tom Wright for us. I think just the consistency, maturity again that he's shown. He was a little bit of a slow burn possibly in Super Rugby, but when it came to the international season, he has really found his feet, and he provides just a little bit of that X factor that I suppose Wallaby teams have known in the past. And I think the more that we can get, they can get his hands on the ball, the better they're going to be.
Okay, well, we move on to the Republic, to the World Champions Springboks. This is a hard choice. They've got 3 players nominated for World Rugby's Player of the Year. They've got another guy out for World Rookie of the Year. You could go anywhere with this, Gus.
I'm not going with those World Player of the Year nominees. I'm going with my front rower, Ox and Che.
Of course you are.
I'm giving love to my front rowers. When are they getting nominated? This is a man, he's called an Ox. Look at him, he's as strong as an Ox. What he does around the field, set piece wise, he nails his role, but he's relentless. He's a beast. He's the new Intamuera, but I feel like he's got a little bit something extra about him. And this year, honestly, I'm going to keep harping on. We need props in there. We need to appreciate what they do. Scrum. We saw how important the scrum was today, and he's been a massive part of that South African pack. Ox and Che, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
He only plays 41 minutes a game.
But an impactful 41 minutes, Goldie.
Okay, all right.
Never mind the bomb squad. He's setting the bomb up. Boys, come on, detonator. He's done the hard work.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Oh, for me, it's Ches and Colby, because I think
Freak.
Absolute. And for me, obviously, as a rugby fan as well, it's a real pleasure to watch this guy play. Anytime he's on the park, look at that sort of freakish, I suppose, footwork in such tight spaces. But a lot of it's the unseen work. It's how hard he chases kicks. It's the way that he puts his body on the line defensively. We all know the attacking exploits, but I think this guy has really turned into the total package, and he is, yeah, as I said, just a real joy to watch on the rugby field.
I couldn't agree more. But I'm going to talk Eben Etzebeth, because he is nominated for World Player of the Year. He's a legend of the game, one of the greats. Look, he has been a huge part of the success of South Africa, and not slowing down, not showing any signs of it. And what the Springboks have done really well is they've rotated players over time, but he's been a constant. They've had leadership, they've had aggression, his line-out work, his scrum strong. Look, absolute legend of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we can't forget about Argentina because the season that they have beat the All Blacks, beat South Africa, beat Australia as well. They were absolutely brilliant for parts of the year under a new coaching regime as well. Who was your standout player?
For me, I've gone to the front row. I think
Good on ya.
Again, me and Gus are aligned here, but it's Julian Montoya, their captain and hooker. I think he really sets the tone for them. Obviously, we know they're an extremely passionate nation, passionate people, and you can really see the way that he plays. He leads from the front, and yeah, for me, I think often you can gauge the measure of Argentina based on their front rowers and their inspirational hooker.
Who said front rowers aren't getting attention and
Listen,
getting...
I should have
they
said
are
props.
today.
I should have said props. That's what I should have said. But yeah, 100% agree. He's the barometer on how they play and learnt from one of the best in Augustine Creevy, a big part of that team.
So you've gone with Wallace Satiti. I've gone with an up-and-coming as well. Joaquin Oviedo, the number 8, who in some pivotal games played really, really well. And I think he's only 23 years old. If my research tells me right, there's a big future for this guy when the loose forward combinations that they have for Argentina, and I think that's their competitive advantage. When you start throwing in the likes of a Kramer, Matera, all of a sudden they've got athletic ball carriers and a little bit of youth as well. So they've got some versatility. Really love what he did in 2024.
Okay, well, we cannot ignore our friends in the north. We know they watch the show
can, but we
religiously.
won't.
So just for you, who is your best player from the Northern Hemisphere? I've got a feeling I know where you're going to go here. You flattered with him, you went to his wedding.
It's my boy. I emceed his wedding, actually. It's my boy, Jamison Gibson Park. Go on. A man who didn't get his full opportunity here in New Zealand took it. He's just such a big part of this Ireland squad. When he's on, he's earned what he does. He gets them go forward ball, and he was an absolute pest on defence. You know, he's a small man, but he's hearty. He's not afraid to get away from it, and he's involved in every single positive impact that you see when Ireland's doing well.
So it's not biased at all.
Gibson Park. Oh, it's a little bit biased, but it's also reason to it, isn't there, Crowdside?
There is, because he's extremely creative around the ruck, is what I love, and probably seeing his growth from when he was here early doors in his career in New Zealand and where he's evolved to. And obviously going to the north, that's a totally different style of rugby. So he would have had to have reinvented himself over there, and he's done that so well. For me, though, it's another number 9, but a French one, and it's hard to go against class. And Antoine Dupont is that. He epitomises that for me. And the reason probably why I've done it is not necessarily what he's done in the 15s game this year, but it was his presence and his impact for the French Sevens team. I suppose in bringing a lot of hype around their Olympic bid and for them winning a gold medal. But then when he has come back into the 15s game, he's been immense as well. He has just, again, taken another step in regards to his elevation, and that's not an easy role to transition from 7s to 15s in the 1 year, because not all players can do that.
You also went for a Frenchman, Jeff?
He's awesome. I don't think there's any debating how good he is as a rugby player. But I've gone for the man who ended up playing outside him when first 5 didn't want to stay in camp. So he left camp and first 5 was injured in Intermec, and that's Tomo Ramos, who's ultimately a fullback who's been playing at first 5, and he's had the responsibility of driving this team around. They'd had no first 5 cover in the test match a week ago. So for me, he's got all the skills. His goal kicking is outstanding. He is a match winner. I just love his consistency as a player. For me, I just feel as though France, when they needed someone to step up, he stepped up.
Okay, well, that is the conclusion of our Breakdown Awards. So big congratulations to anyone that did pick up an award from our 3 judges.
Do they care? I'm not sure they care.
Maybe, they maybe do. But you know what? And I said this. I said you're probably sitting there thinking it's far too early. It is just 82 days away from Super Rugby, so you do not have to wait long before the next rugby competition on this side of the world kicks off. There you go. Not too far away. So we want to be shocked. We've asked these guys to send us and tell you their shock predictions. So team, shock me. Shock us.
What have I got down here? I think
Blues go back to back. I'm sliding in there.
So is that a shock?
That is
Or
not
an expectation?
shocking.
That's not shocking.
I'm not here. That's shock. I'm just shocking everyone.
That's not shock factor.
I'm saying what it is. Look at that. What a beautiful show. Look at that.
That's really
Eden
cool.
Park sold out. Raise the cup up. Fireworks. We're going to have more fireworks, more lasers. We're going to... Oh, who's that handsome man? Hello. Shock.
Shock. Shocked that you guys won it in 2024.
Wow.
Thanks, Gus, for your opinion.
Come on now, what are you going to do?
We seem to be quite aligned for some reason. I'm not saying the Blues are going to win, but I had initially just, when I look at the squads, probably an early statement for me would probably be a repeat of the final that we had this year, the Blues and the Chiefs. But maybe that's not shocking enough. So there's a little bit of fine print down here, and it's saying Cruden to make a Super Rugby rotation.
That wouldn't shock us.
There's a bit of a shock
So if you
here.
had a pick of team to go to,
Yeah, not
which
the
would it be? Would it
Crusaders?
just be the Chiefs, or is there something out there you'd like to be?
Yeah, who would the shock? The shock would be the team.
Oh, I don't know.
I'll give you an
I can't
idea.
do-
I'll tell you a
He
team.
wants the Highlanders.
No. I'll tell you
I'll
a
leave
team.
that to my agent, right?
Oh, you leave that to your agent? I'll tell you what, if
Wink,
you
wink.
want to join the Waratahs, I'll tell you what, you've got a shot next year. There you go.
Super Rugby
Because they've
title.
picked up, and this is, I think they're definitely going to be semi-finalists next year, the Waratahs, because they've picked up half of the Rebels team. Half of the Rebels squad have all moved to Sydney. I think they're going to be significantly stronger, and there's a number of key players, I think, for this group have had a real great season for the Wallabies as well. I just like the way they're tracking. You know, there's always an opportunity to have an impact. It's a different Super Rugby competition next year without the Rebels. I think they're going to be dangerous.
Joseph Suali'i, another player to be heading to the Waratahs next year. I'll tell you what, I'll be the judge this time. I like yours. Not shocking, the fine print, but it would be a lovely surprise to see you back in Super Rugby next year, Aaron Cruden. Well, we said we've got the next 5 dot downs for you. New Zealand Rugby's Try of the Year coming up at the New Zealand Rugby Awards in a couple of weeks' time. Here is the next part.
Counties with 19 minutes to play. Still Fuller running in, they're going into Vita Offa. Breaking, tackles a well, stepping beautifully. Oh, magic from Counties, what a go!
This time it lands for Vahakolo. Now Sylvia Brunt is an absolute menace. Up through the middle goes another one, and another one. This time the offload higher in support. She skips out of one. Duplessis is there with the offload for Georgia Ponsonby. Oh, New Zealand, it is sumptuous.
McKenzie is there, and he says, I'll have you, and I'll have the next one as well, and he burns Christie. Stevenson is there with him. So to Leonard Brown. Oh, brilliantly taken. It's a block by Xavier Rowe. What a stunning try. Another target in midfield. Malaki away, good defence. Despite the freeze, they keep coming away. Out wide, inside ball. There's the what a finish. And doesn't he love it?
Again, that Auckland Storm scrum putting pressure on the Tui. Robin takes it off the back, challenges the blindside, draw it past to perfection from the number 8, Monique Clark with the footwork. Plenty of Tui players around her. The chase is excellent. So is the support play. I am loving what I'm seeing from the Hawke's Bay Tui again. This time it's in the hands of Laval, still fighting. The Hawke's Bay Tui. An incredible try.
Princess Diana. Yeah, 1993.
That's not bad,
That was,
right?
yeah, so the Queen and then Princess Diana.
Yeah.
How cool was that? Oh, it was a poor bow. It was a really poor bow.
Oh, wait, I'm
you
so
know.
glad you said that because I butchered mine as well.
Yeah.
I got stuck between a bow and a curtsy.
The sun looked beautiful. The rain on my skin felt amazing. It was a good day, mate.
Drinking out of the Bledisloe Cup, as we've learnt, 52 beers that fills up that cup.
His top
Is
got
that all?
more of the beer than what. No, he did a 2.1. He's got to learn how to drink properly, man.
No celebration there, Millsy. There wasn't a Goldie. What was that? Rock the world sort of setup or weight off my shoulders? Goldie, it's an interesting one. It's a wide rim. Sometimes you've got to get a little bit of help. I got Geordie and Quintu Paya there. Just giving me the taste of the sweet nectar. You work hard, you get the treats.
And it tastes even better when you're upside down. Have you ever tried that?
Do you still think you need to bring players back from overseas?
Geez, this is heavy. You never said to me we were going down this.
I would play him at 10. That's as random as it gets. Roygard is a first 5. Seriously,
choice
bossy.
first 5, bossy.
Seriously, come on.
Goldie,
Someone.
can you just apologise to our South African viewers?
Sorry to my
please?
South African friends.
Don't wreck our game. You know who you are. We're actually quite serious now. They know who they are. They know who they are. Ali, you got told off for that.
Did you?
I got a bollocking. Graham Henry said
said, that is the fastest way to get yourself to the Northern Hemisphere and completely just disintegrate and no one knows who you are. Dougie and I still play this over and over again on a night out.
What year and opponent was Richie McCaw's first test as captain?
It was Wales team. Good luck.
David, please, can you do me a favour? I'm Sir John Kirwan. What am I doing? I'm doing this. I'm dancing and singing, but I'm not Sir John Kirwan because I keep it real.
God, you annoy me, Goldie.
Italia! Italia! Oh, God!
Yes! Driving yes. New coach.
Yes, grazie ragazzi! Fiore, benissimo!
What are you guys laughing at?
I think the Crusaders are going to win the title again. Again. Seriously, when I look at this squad
Are you kidding yourself,
and what they've built.
I just want you to listen to this thing because he convinced himself that much that he even thought that they won.
Man, you got the job done. It's an impressive win. Well done. Congratulations. Outstanding.
No, I was talking about him. I was actually talking about George.
Goldie!
He couldn't help himself.
Vinegar or tomato sauce?
What? On your chips?
Oh, tomato sauce all day.
Okay, this is for you. Your favourite new colours, signed by the entire
You guys
team.
are finding this amusing.
The guy approached me to have the horse called Justin Marshall, but that was after the Christian Cullen horse.
Yep.
And that was an amazing horse. But that horse is named after me. That thing is grazing in some paddock somewhere, lazy as thing.
I wore my shoes, look. You see those? Dressed the best, looked the best, played the best.
And you know what these people have done? I can't do the finger here. Non frega niente, non ti scotta neanche, capito? Non ti frega niente.
I'm avoiding eye contact. I'm just going to talk to you two.
Hey.
I mean,
This is the granddaddy dance.
This is the granddaddy
dance. Yeah. I bring back John Travolta. I was all over it.
Hopefully you won't have to use that boxing bag in a couple of months' time when the All Blacks hit town.
I'm waiting. I'm putting John Kirwan's face on it. You know what it could be. And I'm going for a little dab, Johnny.
I love our options at halfback.
I love this desk because I don't have to look across at you.
Oh, that was absolutely brilliant. Shout out to our incredible producer, Wilson, who's been doing all the hard work behind the scenes this year, and our entire crew. We have had so much fun when you look at that. We've had some amazing guests come on, some brilliant debates, arguments, dancing, some try celebrations that you've made up. That was great.
We must be hard to work with. After watching that, we must be hard to work with. If you're in the back room there, seriously, I don't know. Look, it's been fun, yeah. It really, really has. It's nice to bring in some new people.
And you've been a big part of the show as well.
Finally, it took you until the last show to pick a fight with me, which is
No, it's
great.
not we wouldn't call it a fight.
Well,
it's a
disagreement.
debate. It's a healthy debate.
And you guys did work together to gang up with me a couple of times. That's what Mills and JK do all the time. But it's been a lot of fun.
I didn't want to mention it, but this was a heavily Chiefs Mana show, wasn't it, Gus?
Blues. Blues, baby. No, a little bit Chiefs mana. Blues mana. Bring it all together. Love. Aroha.
So,
Aroha.
you know, at the top of the show, I was thinking to myself, I can't wait for it to end. Yeah, let's bring it all on again. Let's go. We're back.
Yeah.
Well, let's
give it up to Kirsty.
Yeah.
Put up with us, right?
Not me.
Put up with us. You're right.
But my incredible husband for allowing me to continue to do this when there was a beautiful baby thrown in the mix as well. So thank you so much for all of your support. 43 shows you have supported us for this year. So thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that has contributed to this program as well. And I make this promise to you, we will be back bigger and better in 2025. Ka kite, have a wonderful Christmas.